Once upon a time, there was a sweet little girl who lived in a village near the forest. Her grandmother loved her so much that she made her a little Red Riding Hood, which the girl wore everywhere. From then on, everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother asked her to take a basket of goodies to her grandmother, who lived deep in the woods. "Be careful and don't stray from the path," her mother warned. "And don't talk to strangers." Little Red Riding Hood promised to be careful and set off through the forest. Along the way, she met a wolf. The wolf, who was very cunning, asked her where she was going. Little Red Riding Hood, forgetting her mother's warning, told him that she was going to visit her grandmother, and gave him the directions to her grandmother's house. The wolf, who was hungry and had wicked plans, hurried ahead to the grandmother's house. When he arrived, he knocked on the door. "Who is it?" called the grandmother. "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood," said the wolf, trying to sound like the little girl. "Come in, my dear," said the grandmother, who was lying in bed because she wasn't feeling well. The wolf entered, pounced on the grandmother, and swallowed her whole. Then he put on her nightgown and cap, and lay down in her bed, waiting for Little Red Riding Hood. A little while later, Little Red Riding Hood arrived. She knocked on the door. "Who is it?" asked the wolf, pretending to be the grandmother. "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood," she said. "I've brought you some goodies. Come in, my dear," the wolf called out. When Little Red Riding Hood entered the cottage, she noticed something was different about her grandmother. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said. "All the better to see you with, my dear," replied the wolf. "Grandmother, what big ears you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," said the wolf. "Grandmother, what big teeth you have," exclaimed Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to eat you with," roared the wolf, jumping out of the bed. Just as the wolf was about to pounce on her, a woodcutter who had been passing by heard the commotion and rushed in with his axe. He struck down the wolf and saved Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother, who was found safe in the wolf's belly. Little Red Riding Hood learned her lesson that day. She promised never to stray from the path again, and to always listen to her mother's advice. And they all lived happily ever after.